bit of congestion from the flight. So, all right, there we go. So, good morning, everybody. First, before we go any further, I would like to. Oh, goodness. All right. Before we go on, I'm going to ask Iris to pray us in.
Okay.
Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Dove. Good morning, all. I am just so happy I'm here. Okay, I'm going to pray us in. So, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Iris.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So, hang on just a second. So, yeah, good morning, everybody. Fresh, not really too fresh, but from my trip to Scotland. Of course, our flight was delayed, and it did. This trip was a trip of delay and lost and found, and just so many really interesting things that occurred. If y'all don't mind, I'm just gonna go on a little bit about what happened, all the different situations, and how Sandy, my partner, and I got through, and just some amazing miracles, real absolute miracles happened. So first off, our flight out of Dallas. We flew from Colorado Springs to Dallas. That was good. Got to Dallas, and the hi Karen, the Sharon, Paz, Iris, hello everybody. Uh, so so uh, so we got to Dallas, and there was a problem with the aircraft that we were going to be taking to London. So they said, we have to work, something with the air conditioning. I'll bet it was the same aircraft that we came back on, because it was like ice cold the whole time. They didn't have any heat. It was very cold. So anyway, they were working on the aircraft. It was over 10 hours that we sat in the Dallas airport, waiting for that flight to be able to go. And I missed you guys too. So we were waiting all that long time. And of course, that meant that our flight from, once we got to Heathrow, um, we were going to have to fly to Inverness. And so that made everything late, everything late, everything late, right? So we got to Heathrow finally after 10 hours in the Dallas airport, and I think nine hours of flying. Finally got to Heathrow, and it was a lovely. The flight to Heathrow was wonderful. Once we got on the plane, the waitresses were nice. They gave us little blankets and pillows, and it was all very good. Good flight. But when we got to Heathrow, then. Of course, because our flight had been delayed and delayed, we were on a much later flight to Inverness, and we didn't arrive in Inverness till at like 10:30 p.m. And the one thing about these little small villages in Scotland, England, wherever you go, even here in Pueblo, at a certain time they shut the whole airport, all the amenities. There's no coffee, nothing you can get, nothing. But we just wanted to get to Findhorn, to our retreat, and so we asked the the fellow that was checking us in, sweet, sweet, nice man, Scottish man, and we said, "What's the best way to get to Findhorn?" And he said, "Well, the cheapest way, this is what he was thinking, would be the train. So there's a little train. Well, there's trains that run all the way through. There was a train, and he said, it's just a wee bit down the road. This. It's a wee bit down the road is the kicker of the whole trip. It's just a wee bit down the road, maybe 10-15 minute walk, right? But this was almost midnight. This was like, 11:30 at night, thereabouts when we finally got ourselves settled. So, so there was a taxi that was going to the airport Marriott, which was right across the street. We could have walked there. And the taxi driver said, "Okay, I'll take you down to the little train station." So he did. He took us to the little train station. We paid him. Um, we got to the little train station, and it was basically just a little shelter with a little bench, and then everything was automated. So you had to buy your tickets with a key at a kiosk and everything with a card. So we got there, and I bought tickets to go to Inverness, or to Forest, which is outside of Findhorn. Bought the tickets at the little kiosk. When we just arrived, a train did go past us. So we were like, okay, that's cool. The train will be coming. And sure enough, the ticket said the train would be coming. But the train didn't come. So at this time, it was pitch black, and just icy, icy cold. Uh, thank God it wasn't raining. That would have been just the real kicker. It wasn't raining, just pitch black though, and cold, just freezing. And so Sandy, and we couldn't use our phones. Even though I had gotten the ACIM global thing, everything you could have to do, the phone wouldn't ring out to any of the numbers for the taxis on on the internet. So we kept trying, kept trying. I was just sitting there praying. I was just saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. That's my prayer always. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Help me, help me, help me. And as we were sitting there, Sandy looked over at the track, and there was a man walking up the track with a little headlight and a orange vest, and he was inspecting the track. And so we called him. Oh, hey, hey, can you help us? Can you call a taxi? We need one by, our terrifying thoughts. And he's like, give me 10 minutes. I'll be right back. So we sat there shivering as as he went on and finished inspecting the track. We didn't see where he went. A few minutes later, he comes driving up in a little truck. I'll post these pictures so you can see the truck and everything. Driving up in a little truck, and it was Fergus and Ollie. Their names were Ollie and Fergus, his workmate. And they loaded all of our bags up into their little truck, and they took us into another little village called Nairn, which had a bigger train station. However, there was no train running, and that's what he told us. There are no more trains running. I had bought tickets for the train. No trains were running after that. So they took us to this other station and called a taxi for us. And so a taxi, young fellow, sweet young man, came up in the taxi, picked us up, and took us over to Findhorn, which was not too far, but it was not too close either. So took us to Findhorn, and we get there, and I will post pictures of this place as well. When we got there, the everyone was asleep. All the buildings were dark. There was one building that was the registration, whatever, visitor center, but of course they were all gone. It was after midnight. And so he left us off. And so here Sandy and I standing here with all of our bags in the middle of nowhere, not knowing where to go, what to do, nothing. And again, I'm like, Jesus, you brought me here. You got to help me. So So yeah, so we looked around and we saw one caravan that had a light on. And so we went over and knock, 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 knock. Help, help, help. And this fellow sticks his head out. He'd just gotten out of the shower. He was soaking wet. Just gotten out of the shower. He said, "Oh, I'm just, the shower. But, oh, yes, I'll show you where." So he came out in his bathrobe and pointed where we needed to walk to go to our lodge, which none of it was evident. Nothing was evident here. Believe me, it was pitch dark and I couldn't see 1 foot in front of me. So, so we started walking up in the direction that he pointed out, and then a few moments later, we hear him. He comes running up behind us. He had thrown on a jumpsuit, and he said, I just couldn't see you out here all alone. I have to take you. I have to show you." So he did. He took us to our building, which was a beautiful little cabin. And I had been communicating with a couple people on we have a WhatsApp group. I had been communicating with them a little bit, but they were gone to sleep by then. And so I said, well, let's just knock on the doors, knock on the windows, wake somebody up to come and let us in because the doors were all locked and we were again freezing. So we're knocking, 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 and the Matthew, the fellow, he's like, "Oh, well, don't knock too loud, you'll wake them up." And we're like, "Yes, wake them up." Somebody come open the door. So eventually, yes, a gentleman came to the door, a gentleman that we never saw again, and that no one else in that cabin knew who he was or where he came from. They didn't even know that that this person was there. Okay? Like not even a person that was a part of our group that was in the cabin but he came and opened the door and let us in. This was very strange. So, I mean, it wasn't strange at the time because we thought he was staying there, but it turned out that no, there was no man in there at all, and who he was, we don't know. Nobody else knew either. So anyway, so we got inside, but it was just like a little kitchen area, like a lounge area, and there were no we knew what room we were in, but we had no key to get into the room. So Sandy and I are saying, well, okay, there was like a little love seat there. And I said, well, we could just, hang out here, sleep here. In the morning, we'll go get this straightened out. No, Matthew said, "I know the caretaker and I know how to get your key. I'll be right back." And so we, sit there for a minute, and sure enough, here he comes running up with the little envelope with Johnson on it and the two keys to the room. Thank God. So we were able to get into a room and get into a bed. This was at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So this this was we had been going since we had left our place at like uh 7:30 in the morning the day before, and I can't calculate the time because we gained and lost time going across the ocean. But but anyway, we had been awake for a long time, so we just passed out. And then the next morning got up, and Vicky was in the room next door, and Mary Beth Scalisi was in the room next door to Vicky, or on the other side of us, and just friends from America that we knew, and people from Sweden. We were in the building with the Swedes and the Norwegians. I guess they put all the Baltic people in one place. So, got up in the morning, got to meet them, and then went up. And every morning they served us breakfast in this amazing, lovely cafe. So we went up for breakfast, and we're able to get to our meeting, and it was all was well, all was well. Thank you God, everything happened for the best. Angels, angels, angels along the way, who went out of their way completely out of their. I was so scared those guys, Ollie and Fergus, were gonna get in trouble for picking us up in their truck, and that was a train railroad truck, public utility, but that it was no big deal. I wish I had the picture. I'll put them up though. Anyway, uh, so the next day we began with. Well, Sandy stayed in the room and slept. She went back to the room and slept, and so we began with our sessions, and what these sessions were music. So we had like one of the first things which really woke you up. One of the first things that happened was they had brought in a master piper, a bagpiper, and a fiddler. So they played the bagpipes, several songs in this room, and everybody's ears were like ringing from the bagpipes. And the pictures you'll see, people with their hands over their ears because the bagpipe was so loud. So, there's music there, and then there was singing. We all learned songs and sang, and there was dancing, and that's something that Findhorn is famous for having created these circle dances, healing circle dances. So you get in a circle and you dance around and you put one leg in and one leg out and in and out and up and down. Oh my Lord, by the time my hips were like screaming, what are you doing to us? But we are still doing it, dancing with all these beautiful people. And then we had the dialogues. And the dialogues was where we just sat and spoke around the room. Everybody talked about, what they saw, what they thought, what they heard, all of, experiences. That this was the bulk of what we did was we had dialogues about our experiences and our things that we've been told through spirit, etc., or we're hearing through spirit at the moment, which was fabulous. These people are amazing, 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 every one of them. And of course, Mandy was there. She brought her accordion. So she and this guy Hugh gave us a little concert with the accordion. She gave us little percussion instruments to play while she played her accordion. She's great. She's amazing. But that's we would have music, dancing, dialogue. Then tea. We had tea at 11, and then we would go on, doing more of that kind of stuff until like 1:30. Then we would have lunch, and they brought lunch in the kitchen there at the community, made these lunch, and so we had all this wonderful. It was just so good. The place is just magical. Every house, there were gardens everywhere, flowers. There were trees with fruit like apples and peaches and plums and then vegetable gardens, everything, and they recycle everything, and they have this huge um, areas where they do composting and just all. It's just beautiful. It's an eco village, is what it is. It's an eco village, and it was made in the 60s. I think Rudolf Steiner was a part of it. I'm not sure, but anyway, I have a book about it, and I'll know more after I look at the book. But anyway, that's what we did all day: dancing, singing, talking, dancing, singing, talking. Sebastian, who did the books Choose Only Love and The Age of the Heart, and this new book about resurrection, he was there and he spoke to us some, but everyone spoke equally. Everyone was an equal. Everyone was called out, asked, do what do you think? What do you hear? It was just equality. And these are not Course in Miracles. Some of them are Course in Miracles students. A lot of them are Course of Love students. Um, Age of the Heart students, but Course of Love, because they were the translators, the people who translated A Course of Love into Swedish and Norwegian and Spanish and Brazilian. I think that's Portuguese. So they're all translators. All these people from Argentina and Brazil and all over the world. Vietnam, we had some beautiful people from Vietnam who didn't speak English hardly at all, but it was lovely anyway. because you were dancing with them and you were singing with them, and it was just lovely. So that was what it was the whole week. We would do all this, and then in the evening, if you weren't totally exhausted, the first night we did went into town to the pubs. So we went into Kimberly or to the village. They called it the village. I guess it's Finorville. But we went to this inn called the Kimberly, which was a pub, and had fish and chips. It was lovely. Didn't drink any beer. I didn't, I don't drink, so that's a. But you're in a pub. But yeah, so we would go out and eat, and then we'd go back to our little places, and we would talk and played some games and have discussions, and then to bed, and then the next morning back up and over, the same cycle. So that was basically what happened. And then uh gosh, just so much walking. I did an incredible amount of walking, and I took little videos and pictures of all these gardens and all these the preserve around there. Sandy went down to the beach and got rained on and soaked, and because it rained a lot, it was raining quite a bit, but everything was so green, and everything was so fresh, everything was so clear. I didn't have to use my inhaler at all. The air was so clean, it was so beautiful, and it was just lovely. And if I could tell you what I've learned is that there is a global community of people from all different, not just A Course of Miracles, different varieties of um, disciplines who are fervently working, actively working to bring about this peace in the world. And it was just such an incredible. We did, obviously meditating together and praying together, and several people ended up. There were some people that got sick. I just heard from the WhatsApp that the one couple from Sweden, I think, yeah, I think they were Swedish, Lars and Hildy, both ended up having COVID. So we got to check on that too. But so far, I'm fine with everything. I haven't got uh, any problems. Let's see what else. We hooked up with John Monday. John left his phone in the car before he got on the airplane, so he didn't have a phone, no way of communicating. So yeah, it was crazy. So we took we let him use our phones, etc. But Glenn Hoverman gave him his watch because his daughter had given him a new watch, so he gave John his watch to use while we were there, so he'd know what time it was, basically. But when we went to the airport, that finally, before we moved out, before we flew home, we went back to Inverness and took a room at the Marriott there. And so, because it was Sandy and this uh, woman, Marissa from Brazil, and John and myself, we took two rooms, and with twin beds. So I stayed in the room with John, and Sandy and Marissa stayed in the other room together, because neither one of them was comfortable sleeping with a man in their room. John Mundy. Which cracked me up. Oh my God. So, so so the next day, we got up because our flights were very early. I had a 7 o'clock flight, and John and Sandy and I had a 7 o'clock flight, and Marissa had a 6:30 flight. So the next morning we got up at 4 o'clock. I think that was yesterday. I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and went through all the routine, going, getting back on the plane, etc. Uh, and when we got on the aircraft, John suddenly remembered that he had left Glenn's watch in the hotel room. So, and he didn't have any way of getting a hold of Glenn. So I WhatsApped to Glenn and said, John thinks he left your watch at the hotel in Inverness. Well, they were going to fly out to Spain to go see Alice's friend whose husband Rod just passed away. So they were able to go to that hotel and retrieve Glenn's watch. So that was found. What was lost is found. And then of course, we had to fly all the way back and they never I think it must have been the same aircraft that we took going from Heathrow back to Dallas because it was freezing in there. The flight attendants were just freezing. Everybody was just freezing. It was so cold. It was just you turned off the little things up above because it was like there was a fresh wind blowing through there. Um, but anyway, so we got to Dallas and we because we were running a little late, of course, because that's the way it always works. And we got to Dallas, we had literally like 30 minutes to get through customs and on the train, on the bus, through all these. I mean, we basically just ran and got to our gate just as they were boarding. And I was, by that time I was like, oh my God, I'm half dead here. But we made it to our aircraft. And but then that aircraft had a mechanical problem, and so we had to sit on the tarmac for 20 minutes. Maybe like a half an hour, maybe like 45 minutes, come to think of it. So anyway, but that was our final flight from Dallas to Colorado Springs. And so, I was okay. My phone was dead. It didn't charge. So but Sandy had her phone. Thank God for that. Anyway, we uh, were able to get back to Colorado Springs finally and get off the aircraft, go to the baggage claim. No bags, no bags, no bags. So we went over to the desk, showed him our ticket, and he said, oh, yes, your bags are on the next flight that's coming in an hour. And I'm like, an hour for you is probably 2 hours, and we're going to sit here in this airport for until after midnight waiting for our bags. I don't think so. So we had to put in a claim. Our bags are lost, or they did find them. I've gotten verification emails back saying that we did find your bags. They are supposed to deliver them here to the house today, so we'll have our stuff. And I'm sure John got back to New York and got his phone and all was well because his phone was in a car he had lent it to a friend who took him to the airport. So his phone was not in a taxi, thank goodness for that. But yeah, it was just a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind. We did not have a minute that we were not running or doing something, running and doing something, running and doing something. And there was, I mean, there were many times, especially when we went to the pub in, uh, where were we? Oh, in Inverness. And the fellow said, we rode the bus into Inverness, and the fellow said, oh, it's just a wee bit down, just a wee, it's just a wee walk down this way to McGregor's. So, of course, a wee walk down to McGregor's was about 2 miles or maybe a mile and a half. And it was just icy, cold wind off the sea. And it was just, and then, of course, we had to eat outdoors. I have pictures of us with John and Marissa sitting outside in the freezing cold eating fish and chips. That's the only thing I ate when went out was fish and chips because it was fresh, fresh haddock, fresh fish from the North Sea. So all amazing, lovely food. Crispy chips. Oh my God, the chips were so wonderful. Just everything was just delightful and on the one hand, you're like physically so uncomfortable. So I mean, my hips, I'm telling you, my hips were like screaming at me, like, what happened? Ooh, 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 ooh. My knees and my hips were just like they had it. But I'm grateful that I started working out before we went. Grateful I started walking on the treadmill and got in good enough shape that I could walk at least 20 minutes without keeling over because there were times we were walking much more than that. And I survived. I have a little bit of a head cold, but no, I don't have COVID. And like I said, a couple people did come down with COVID, uh, but they reported that afterwards. So we'll wait and see. I don't even think about, it just doesn't occur to me that that's part of my path is that, my script doesn't have me, going through that kind of sickness anymore. So I am kind of stuffy, but it's just because of the cold air on the airplane, I think, and the dampness, very damp there, and I got to experience the electric shower, which was, my goodness, I wish we had one here. Was just, you turn on a switch and you turn on the water and you turn on the heat and the water heats immediately and you can take a shower for as long as you want to. There's hot water the whole time. And that was really lovely. Um, and even though Findhorn is an eco village, they had a lot of modern amenities. No televisions or none of that. A whole week without any TV, which was great. But as time goes on, as I unravel all these things, and I'll post up pictures so you guys could see, and just it just was a magical time of meeting like-minded people from all over the world who are intent on living the atonement and being the resurrected Christ. And that was really what I went for, was to experience that. So yeah, and now I'm home and back to reality. I don't know if anybody has anything or any questions they want to ask or anything you want to say. I'm guessing not, eh?
I think that you did a like a 100 thorough job, so everyone got everything. I mean, I don't think you missed any details.
That's pretty amazing, eh? Uh,
Accepting the atonement. So that was the purpose. Is that it?
yeah, if you want to say there was a purpose, because there really was no agenda, although they did publish like a little agenda that said, morning we'll have breakfast, we'll dance, we'll sing, we'll talk, we'll dance, we'll sing, we'll talk. So, um, and a lot of people uh, got stranded in different places, and I mean, uh, just amazing. Just amazing all the way around. And so I have videos of us dancing, videos of the pipers and the musicians, and they had a lady come in that did choir. So she taught us parts. She split the room up and taught everybody a part, and then we all sang together and made harmonies and rounds, and a lot of singing and a lot of dancing, which I had no idea about. It was great. Iris, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. That sounds amazing. And I was thinking about that, that I'm really glad you had the guidance to do your treadmill because I was wondering, because the airports can be very long walking, and I was just like, I was washing clothes once, and I was thinking, like, I wonder, like, how Lynn managed with walking across the airport with the treadmill. Um, and like, I also was thinking about that man that like the cabin was empty when you arrived, and like, and you were praying, and there was a man that came and opened the door, and like the cabin was supposed to be empty, and it's just very like very interesting. And I know like Scotland and Ireland and certain parts of England are very mystical. Like they have very mystical things happening that are just kind of very, very like a human logic cannot understand and cannot even explain. And to me, that's just fascinating that somebody came and opened the door, and that person disappeared and nobody knows about him, and he turned up at the right time. And I just wondered if you can share a bit more about this man and all this stuff. Like, it's very interesting. I'll put the mic down.
Okay. Yeah, it was interesting because that was what everybody else in the cabin was like amazed, like there was no man here. And but he, Sandy and I both saw him, talk to him, and that Matthew guy also saw him and talked to him. Tall, slender, very fair, very light man wearing like white clothing, like an angel. Um, and I thought it was this guy Lars, but he wasn't staying in there. And I asked him, he said, "Oh no, I wasn't there. I don't know what you're talking about." But there, yeah, this was just a person that was there that was not staying in that cabin, but he came out of, and I kept telling that Paulina, he came out of your room because I saw where he came out of. I said, he came out of your room. She said, there was no man. There was no man in my room. I don't know what you're talking about. So that was I mean, I don't think she was trying to hide something shady. I think really honestly it had to have been some kind of, an angel, or I think all of these people, they were so angelic. The first night we went out to the pub for supper, and we went in there, and there was a young couple there, and they said, "Do you want to share our table?" And we said, "Sure." So we sat down with them, started talking to him. Turns out that the woman, Renata, was a nurse. And so Sandy, of course, is a nurse, is like, I'm a nurse, we're a nurse. So they had their nursey talk. I didn't pay attention really to any of it because that's all about, hospitals and people and how things work. So that was, all, really very sweet of them. They had come there for a wedding. They had seen dolphins in the bay. So of course Sandy had to go looking for dolphins after that. And then it was all very nice meeting them and speaking with them. And then the last night when we went to the pub in uh, Inverness, the McGregor's pub in Inverness, where we sat outside in the cold. Um, I kept trying to call an Uber to take us back to the hotel, but it kept, kicking me out. It wouldn't take me. So I said, well, I don't know how to call a cab. We can't call a cab. So we went in and sat back down at a table, and a gentleman came up, and a young lady, and we asked him, could you call a cab for us? And they were like, oh, sure. So Sandy started talking to them. Turns out they knew the nurse Renata that we had met the first night. They also she went to school with the cab driver Tom, who Sandy and Sarita, Glenn and Muffy's daughter, they went into to what town did they? I think they went into Forest in a cab. The guy who was the cab driver, Tom, went to school with Renata and this other woman. I forget what her name was. That I mean, all these people knew each other. I mean, it's a small place, yeah, but it was like so amazing. Mickey, yeah.
So, was it intentional that there were a whole bunch of Course in Miracles and Course of Love people there? Did people arrange,
It was
or is it just that they always have people like that there?
well, no, it was Glenn Hoverman, who's the publisher of Miracles Magazine and also The Age of the Heart and A Course of Love.
Mhm.
Glenn Hoverman arranged it for the translators. So basically, it was all the people who had translated A Course of Love into their own language. So he had set it up for the translators and then other people as went along. So I was one of the, I was like the cheese that stands alone there because I was not a translator or a Course of Love student.
Uh-huh.
But it's okay because I came to understand a lot more about many things there. But oh gosh, what what a what a what a trip! And of course, I look like a drowned rat. First day my hair dryer blew out because it didn't like the voltage, I guess.
Mhm.
So I went and everywhere we went, it was so rainy. And so like all my hair is just all curly and frizzy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't give a crap what I look like because I'm not here for that. Um,
Wouldn't it be fun to get, like have a ton of Course in Miracles people do something like that?
It would be, and to do it in that way, because I've been to Course in Miracles conferences, plenty of them, and
Mhm.
it would be like there's a room and you go and you listen to a speaker, then you go to
Right.
another room and
Yeah.
listen to a speaker. This was people in a circle. There were 44 of us, people in a circle, and just sharing our whatever. This guy Raul, got up and played the guitar, just on a spontaneous, playing the guitar, Imagine. We all started singing, everybody singing Imagine. Uh, just everybody was just sharing.
Yeah, I think that that's the beauty of it is that it wasn't necessarily I would love as a group of Course in Miracles people to go to a scenario like that, a location where it's not course specific, but we could all learn something through the filter of the course, but not have it just be lectures about the course. Oh, you're muted. Lynn, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, there was
There
no
you go.
lecturing at all. There was
Right.
no
Yeah.
lecturing. There was no, if somebody had something
Just
they wanted to
sharing.
read, this one lady did a meditation. She took Psalm 139 and read Psalm 139, and then we did a meditation on that. And it just, whatever it was that you do, you
Mhm.
did.
Right.
So, and yeah, it was just so lovely. Iris, yeah, please go ahead. Hi, Rafi.
Hi, Lynn. I was just thinking, like, that I know, like, there are some days when you mentioned, like, your body was hurting, and you mentioned that uh, like, your body was hurting, and I can imagine, like, being extremely tired from, like, the body being extremely tired, but the heart feeling extremely happy.
Yep.
And like, but I also notice, like, when days when I'm extremely tired like that, like sometimes the mind doesn't think, and then you feel on a different kind of a different way, and like, I don't know, that it just had something to think about there.
Yes, 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 and it is all about the mind because yeah, like Mandy, she has the fibromyalgia, and she has these physical conditions. Of course, I have physical conditions, and but the spirit doesn't have those conditions. So the spirit that animates us through it all. And you could have, like Ken, he had cancer. He still, he was sharp as a tack till the end. And it, it it's not in spite of. It's like, this thing doesn't matter. What's happening with this thing doesn't matter, because what it is the relationship that we have with each other. That's the important thing. So, if you were having a even deadly illness or whatever, it's the love that you share, and it's the love that the joining that will keep people alive for a very long time. Not, and I also think that it's uh, it's part of the script, it's part of the plan. And all of these little ailments are just to remind us that this is not what we are. All these little upsets just to remind us that what I am in spite of, I guess, in spite of the condition of the body, or the condition of, like, Stephen Hawking, was completely unable to do anything for himself. And yet his mind was alive as anything. Teddy Poppy, as he was dying from Lou Gehrig's disease, I have videos of him here, because before we started this group, we had a similar group that were doing the teacher's manual, and Teddy and Vicky joined us in those. And Teddy was weak, and he had gone from, like, he must have probably, I'm thinking he was close to 400 pounds. He went from that to, probably 150 or even lower. He just was wasting away from this disease, and yet his mind was still clear, because it was the spirit that was moving through him, that was animating him and animating his life. And that's what it is. It's the spirit that is moving through us, that is animating us. And all the rest of this is, it's the furniture. It's it's the appliances, it's the furniture, it's what makes it possible for us to be here to commune with each other. But oh, Mary Beth Scalisi, I know you guys probably don't know her, but she did some beautiful poems, read some beautiful poems, played some beautiful music. Uh, just, just an incredible, incredible journey. Yes, Iris.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. It's like it's really beautiful to have like all different types of like Course in Miracles students and Course of Love, and then like all different ones like coming together. That is really beautiful to me. Like that is just really beautiful to me. Like all like, and then reading the Psalms, and like maybe there are some people that had all different like paths, and I find that really beautiful because it's I don't know, it's like unified, like the goal is unified. There is only one kind of oneself, and how we all use different like we do Course in Miracles, and like those people do Course of Love, and then those ones do Buddhism, and those ones do something else, and those ones do the Bible and everything. And it's like everybody comes together in peace. I could see peace instead of this. And I just find that amazing. I just really love that. And I really love I really love like the fact that even when I think sometimes it's better if like our bodies and minds get tired, because like I noticed that when the body and the mind is tired, like the mind doesn't, like, the chatter, like, when we get tired, like even the mind doesn't think properly. It's just kind of, stops, and then something else is there, and the separation seems very like there's no separation. The communication is more, we are able to communicate, I think. I don't know, it's something like that, like it's more on a, from an in-depth, uh not an in-depth, but it's like, I don't know the words, but it's like this, the barriers aren't there anymore, like, the mask isn't there anymore. And yeah, that's all. I just wanted to hand back to Lynn.
I think that's absolutely correct. It is when you're breaking down the barriers that you're able to really see through, and some of us have such strong uh, uh, phys- personality or whatever, that we really have to be broken down in order to be able to literally open up. Because yes, it's like when we were sitting down at the train track. If the train would have come and we got on the train and we got to Forest and everything had worked the way that we thought it was going to work, then we would never have had the opportunity for these fellows, Ollie and Fergus. And that was what I was telling these folks there too. What it did was it gave other people a chance to give something that they would not have been able to give later. And under any other circumstance, I'm sure those two men went home and told their families, wow, this is what happened to us. And uh that's what a gift. What a gift it was, to be able to give to us. And the same thing with that young fellow Matthew, because we talked about it. And then later, this lady Suzanne, who lived there, she said, oh, I talked to Matthew, or my husband talked to Matthew, and he told us about you guys, and he felt so happy. And she said he was chuffed, which I guess means really happy. He was, I hope that's what it means. He was chuffed, to have helped us. So yeah, yeah, exactly. And we were chuffed to let him help us. So yeah, Dove, go ahead. And you're muted again.
I've been writing on the chat like I usually have been doing when people are talking. So basically, what you're saying and what Iris was saying, there's no levels of illusion. There's no interference. So it becomes clear. And yeah, all those people like Ali and the other guy, they they were they were there to be of service, and that's one of the five reasons that what's his name, the guy
Hakeem?
who
Hakeem?
no not no was Hakeem there, by the way?
No, he was not there.
It's funny because I contacted Hakeem before the event, and he said and he looked up Finhorn and he didn't see anything. And I said, well, maybe you ought to get in touch with John Mundy because John is going. I guess he didn't do it because he said that he would definitely have gone from Sweden, obviously.
He would have had to contact Glenn, because Glenn was the one who invited people.
but he doesn't know Glenn. I mean, he does know John. But okay, anyway.
Well, John would have had to contact Glenn and ask him if it was okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
So I just want to mention, so that's one of the 5 reasons that we choose this curriculum is to allow others to be of service to us and for us to be of service. So that's in that, can't think of his name, who does the pre-birth therapy.
Oh, Rob Schwartz.
Yes, Rob Schwartz. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's one of the 5 reasons that we choose the life curriculum that we have, is to allow others to be of service to us and for us to be of service to others. Yeah, and as you were talking, what came up for me, it's like what's happening is the love and joining, and you know how I spell joining, Joy. And as Iris was talking, what came up is like that we are the different faces of the diamond, or the different facets of the diamond. Each come from the same source, each with our own sparkle, brilliance, and those are just some of the things I was writing. That's all.
Yeah, yes, and so that's it. Yeah. So this is why also, because the other thing too was that, um, like I can't even remember which airport. It was it was quite a ways from where we got off to where we needed to our next flight. And I just asked for assistance, and a guy, brought a wheelchair, put me in a wheelchair, put my bags underneath the wheelchair, and he pushed me all the way through security, everything. Like, it was just so wonderful not to have to run like that. Um, because yeah, there was a lot of running uh, that went on. But yeah, for people to be able to help us opens their hearts. And so, when we go through life saying, I don't need anybody, I don't need any help, thanks, but no thanks. When we go through life being all independent like that, then that's how we end up, is being independent, because as I think you were maybe pointing out, Iris, too, is that being vulnerable in that way, being open in that way, and not the being in control and letting other people help us, that actually that um, strengthens our relationships. It gives us a belief, a hope that other people, that there is good in this world, that there are loving people who are there, that are willing, and not only willing but really want to help us. I'm sure those two fellows, Ollie and Fergus, had no thought whatsoever that they were going to find two women sitting by the railroad track, uh, that was going to need a ride. But when the opportunity came, they didn't say, "Oh, we'll call you a cab," or we'll, whatever. They said, "Get in our truck and we will take you to another village where the cab is going to be a lot cheaper than if you have them come way out here." And so they saved us quite a bit of money, actually, by giving us that free ride. And they wouldn't take a penny. None of it was almost like an insult to offer them any money. But, of course, we're Americans, and we think, oh, you got to give them money if they help you. But no, these people are not thinking that way at all. Not even a bit. They're joyful to help you. And that's what we found everywhere that we went in Scotland. People were so joyful to help you and just smiling so sweetly. And it was just wonderful. Rafi, please go ahead. Oh, and Mandy says hello, and she's so grateful that you have been bringing up Lester Levinson. She talked a bit about Lester Levinson in one of the groups, and and she had mentioned that you talked about that quite a bit here. I'm hoping that there's going to be, because I did show people our YouTube channel, I showed people our website, and I'm going to send them links so that they'll be able to join us also. But yeah, go ahead, Rafi.
I think one of the things you might be missing about what you said about your experiences, that all of that all of those people being so desperately wonderful to help you, wanting to help you and helping you so much, is a reflection of your consciousness. They were just reflecting the love that you are, that you're putting out, and the love that you are, that is in you as you, and the love that is in them as them, united. And there is reflection of your consciousness. There was no accident. That was no, oh, gee, these people are so nice. That was you being reflected back to you. And there's the unity, there's the oneness that we are a perfect example of it. And I'm so glad you brought that up because you allowed me to remind me that that's what's true. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rafi. And yeah, I mean, that's why we work. That's why we work. And it's I, when we restarted Gather, the thing, because in the past there had been arguments, and I have to be right, and there was a lot of like somebody trying to be the king bee, queen bee, whatever. There was a lot of that going on, and when I left Awakening Together and we restarted Gather, my full intention was that this would be a peaceful place where people could come and find love, and that there would be no arguments, there would be no antagonism, there would be nothing but love and joy, love for each other, joy for being in each other's presence. That was the intention, and that has been the intention from the very beginning, that there would be, in the past it was kind of a free for all, even though we had rules that you don't correct a brother, and we had some rules about the room, but there were a lot of really strong personalities that thought they knew the right thing. And so when we restarted, I just said, this will not, my full intention is that this is going to be a place where love is the rule. And sure enough, Dove was talking earlier. I heard him saying about setting the goal, and the goal is peace. And if the goal is peace, then it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter who you meet in the airport. It doesn't matter who you meet at the train station. It doesn't matter what people do or don't do. If the goal is peace, peace is what you have. And they'll know you by that. They will know you by that. All right, see you, Rafi. Love you, brother. And I think that's what Gather has become, a place where they know us for our love. Somebody want to say something?
Welcome home.
Thank you, sweetie.
Welcome home. I have to go teach art, but I'll see you guys on Monday. Well, try to, but Monday night for sure. Okay.
Oh, before we go, tomorrow, Sunday with Monday,
Oh, yeah, I'm
John
going to be
Keith
there.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith Kavanaugh is going to be on Sunday with Monday tomorrow.
Right.
So, yeah, so I'll go get the link and pop it in the chat.
Well, we missed you. We missed you, but the Dove came through and we still had groups, so it was good, but we missed you.
I miss you guys too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Iris, go ahead.
Yeah, Lynn, I'm so glad you're back. And we really miss you. I was here on Saturday, but it was still like a very powerful session. And we didn't record it, and I don't really remember what we spoke about, but it was very, very powerful. I do remember feeling that. And just this comment from like Dove, I was listening because Dove mentioned that last week as well, like setting the goal up front. And I made a note of that, and I was thinking like setting the goal up front, and now it makes sense. Setting like the goal of peace up front, when Lynn was sharing, like it makes sense. Setting the goal up front, the goal is the atonement or the peace. And that is the goal. And not like a goal that is like it's like if I do this, then I'll have peace, or peace is somewhere to be found in some future distance. And I know for me, I struggle with this. Like, it was like I have to ask for peace, but I'm not seeing the peace now. And but I'm asking, and then I'm waiting for the peace, and but I'm not seeing the peace now. And that is part of the puzzle. Like, the goal is always peace, and the answer is always yes. It is always done, and the answer is yes. And I got like two and two together a little bit to make five, and I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you for that, because that is something actually that I heard when we were there, that because people were saying, well, I don't like this, or I don't, and I realized the answer is always yes and not no, which is a different thing. Yes and not no. So uh and yes, when you recognize that saying yes is the answer to everything and everyone, no matter what you may think, saying yes is the goal, is the way to peace. And yes, setting the goal. That's why we have the rules for decision. The whole idea of rules for decision is when you wake up in the morning, you say, what kind of a day do I want to have? Well, the day I want to have is a day of yes. I want to have a day of peace. And so if that's your goal, then everything that happens to you throughout the day, you could, I mean, I even got, upset with my husband last night about, who's coming to pick us up. And I just, I had to say, I can see peace instead of this. There's nothing to worry about. Um, I can see peace instead of this. And so saying yes and not being angry, not being disappointed, just saying yes, this is right. Mickey, please go ahead.
So I wanted to step back for a second into the discussion we were having before about uh, being of service and letting people be of service. Rafi put a really great positive spin on it. I'm gonna go in the other direction just for a second, just because this used to be such a pet peeve of mine. I don't get as miffy about it as I used to, but when when I would encounter one of those really stubbornly independent people, and not independent in a good way, I knew this woman earlier in my life who was was really kind of not okay. She needed help. That she was one of those people that did not get along very well on her own, and she was widowed and really kind of struggling. But no, I can't ask Pete. I say, well, what? She lived far away from me, so I couldn't go and help her. Why don't you ask, one of your friends to help you? No, I don't do that. And and I would get really frustrated, because when we have that kind of attitude, we are denying people the pleasure, the good feeling, the beneficial love that comes to them from being of service. And I would, you, people don't understand. I think they think they're being a burden. They think that, oh no, I can't, oh, I would never ask for help. I would, no, I'm okay, and it would just drive me kind of crazy of like, there are people out there who would benefit so much from being of service, who would get that feeling of having done something good, who,
Yes.
you know,
It's a gift.
it's a gift that you asking someone for help is a gift that you give to them. And, do some people overstep the bounds of that on occasion? Yes, they do. But it's a good practice to ask for help and say, look, if this is a burden on you at all, if you don't even feel like doing it, that's okay. It's not a problem. But if you feel like helping me out with this thing, that would be great. There are ways to approach it where you don't have to feel like a burden. You don't have to put the onus on somebody else to, rights of refusal and stuff like that. But just offer it up, to let somebody be of service, to let somebody help. I think is such a gift that we can do for one another. So
That is so beautiful. Yeah.
my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mickey. And there's that song that we all love from the 60s or 70s. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. That's it. We all need somebody to lean on. And how funny. I used to work for a group called Lean On, basically, and that was what it was all about. But yeah, people, they first off they think, oh, I'm not worthy of you taking your time. There's a whole issue of worthiness that goes on. But that's also, and he says in that song, please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, really swallow your pride and let people help you. And I was gonna say, I saw a really lovely movie while I was on the flight, and it's called American Dreamers. It was with Shirley MacLaine and Peter Dinklage, and it's it's a beautiful, beautiful movie that I would suggest to everybody. But it's all about, finding someone you can lean on, and and it's wow. Now that I'm thinking about it, just wants to, I just want to cry thinking about it because it's so lovely. But that's it. Let people help you. That's what I found out, losing my eye, losing, all these, being, banged up. Let people help you because people want to be able to help you. It makes them feel strong. It makes them feel good. Why would you deny a person the opportunity to be your friend? It's just crazy, right? But we're that way. So
There's a there's an internet group. It's based on Facebook, I think, and it's called the Buy Nothing Project. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's awesome because people post things that they're giving away. If you're trying to declutter your house, you put your stuff up on Buy Nothing, and people, list their names, and you use a random number generator or something to pick who is going to get your stuff. But also, if you have a need, the whole idea is anti-consumerism, but it's hyper local. It's the area that you're a member of is it's usually walkable. And yesterday I'm trying to sew up, there's a rip in the fabric that's underneath your sofa.
uh-huh.
and I'm trying to sew a patch onto it. And it's not sticking, it's supposed to be self-stick, but it's not working. Gravity's working against it. And I posted on the Buy Nothing group, does anybody have an upholstery needle, those curved things
Oh.
that you sew stuff with? And this woman down the street from me said, yeah, come get it. I just need to borrow it for a few days. Why should I go out and be a consumer for something I'm going to use once, and
Yes.
then get, just, and so it's a group of people that we get to help each other out on a regular basis.
I love
Are
that.
there
Yeah.
people that abuse it? Yeah, sometimes, there's that one person that's asking for something every week, uh, and a couple of people who constantly need rides to their therapy appointments and stuff like that. But people step up and do it. New people in the group say they haven't burned out on it yet, helping this one person out. But it's awesome. It's a great system, and it's really lovely. So look it up if you haven't heard of it.
I'm going to do that very thing. I'm not being rude here. I'm just trying to capture a QR. I'm trying to put the WhatsApp on my computer so I can show pictures of what we did. But it's
It's called what?
it's called what Buy Nothing.
It's called the Buy Nothing Project.
Thank you.
Deb, you got an echo going on.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I'm trying to link up my WhatsApp here, but we'll do that later. I'm not trying to take pictures of y'all. But yeah, I will do that because I have a lot of stuff I need to get rid of. So, and I love that idea because, yeah, why should we buy things if I've got a garage full of stuff? Why wouldn't I want to give? That's why we give to thrift shops, and that's why I buy from thrift shops. So, that just kind of and it's waste nothing too, and it's have everything. So, that's lovely. Thank you for that idea, Mickey. I will join that group. So let me look here. I didn't even look at the schedule. Karen and let's see. You're not starting that book this week, are ya?
No, we're going to start next week.
Next week, good, yay. I just have you on the schedule, so I thought I better check.
What book?
They're going to be reading Healing the Unhealed Mind.
Ooh.
Karen and Ozzy are going to be
We're
reading
still
it.
on kindness, the kindness book.
Oh, you're still on the kindness book. I thought you were.
Yeah, and then when we're done the kindness book, we'll do Healing the Unhealed Mind.
Okay, all right. I put it on the schedule and called it that, so we'll see.
Do you think you have a while to go on the kindness book?
No, we're not. We're on the second. We're on volume 2, and I think we're almost halfway through. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's moving along. But we may be having some other folks joining us too, because I did put it out there, and I'm going to send them links and stuff so that people can come and join us. So we may have people from a lot of places that are going to be showing up here to join us, and maybe not. That may be as well. But everyone's free to join. That's for sure. And what a lovely opportunity all the way around. So I think I'm gonna go ahead, Karen. Yeah.
Lynn, first of all, I want to say I'm so happy to see you. That we missed you so much. It was not the same without you. Dove did an amazing job, and we really missed you. But I wanted to ask you, I loved your sharing. I fell asleep a little bit because I was so tired today. It was just a long day for me, but I'm going to re-listen to this. But I heard the beginning of your trip, and when you were talking and sharing, it sounds so lovely. I just wanted to ask you, is there any fear that you overcame, going on this trip? Was there a fear that you overcame?
Yes, I feared that I would not be able to physically do it. I feared that I was going to have in fact, there were times that I was just ready to collapse. The uh, I'll tell you one thing. John Mundy is in some great shape because he could walk. He just kept wanting to go. I could not walk as much as those guys did, and there were times that I just wanted to just lay down on the path and just, you guys come back and get me later. But I just pushed through. I just pushed through. So yeah, I was afraid that I physically would have a great difficulty, and actually, um it was nothing. It was nothing. I have to think, of course, about, people walking up here from Venezuela and going through the jungles and all that kind of stuff, and thinking, what they went through or what they go through. Where there's a will, there's a way. And also, I kind of felt like, uh I'm not a translator. I'm not a, I haven't written a book. All those people there had either written a book. I mean, book people were coming out of the woodwork. All these people, oh, this is the book I wrote. This is the book I. So they all had written all these books, and they all had done all these things. And I was like, well, who am I? Um, so but then, um, they were all coming to me and saying, what you said opened something for me. What you said helped me see this. And I mean, lots of people were coming in telling me that, anything that I was sharing or whatever, that they felt, um, they were touched by it, or they were inspired by it, or they got a light bulb turned on in their mind about a certain thing. It really, I mean, you guys keep me up confidence wise, but it really made me feel like, well, it's not just, the people that I, you know, invite to hang out. These other people think that, that I'm okay too. And yeah, and it did, honestly, before I was like, well, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Now it's like, there may be a lot more opportunities for me to go out and be with people and to learn and to join and to grow. So I just realized nothing's off the table. I will go wherever, and I will do whatever. And my life is not over. I honestly thought that my life, not that my life was over, but I honestly thought, I might as well, not even buy any new clothes ever again, or not even, this will be my last pair of shoes, which I say these kind of things because I'm 71, and I think, well, I won't be around that much longer. Why waste my money on stuff that, is, I'm only going to use for a little while. I don't think that anymore. I do not think that at all. I think whatever comes, I'm ready for it. So it really, yeah, it improved my confidence tremendously. So
That's terrific. Thank you so much for sharing that.
yeah. Well, thank you, because you know what? I think you have a little bit of that as well, that, I'm not capable or can't do or whatever. And never say never.
Yeah,
Never say never.
you are a huge inspiration, Lynn. You really are. I really mean that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. I love you. Iris, yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, Lynn, thank you for sharing that because I feel exactly the same. And like the fear that I have, like when doing things, is like it might not be fear actually. It might be like in lesson 47 it says that uh something about like that I would be afraid because I feel quote inadequate quote. and that it is not in my own strength I am trusting, but in the strength of God in everything. And I just realized this like recently that yeah, the fear that I've been feeling is inadequacy, like in my quote little self. And yes, if I was trusting in my own little self, I have every reason to be afraid, because what can I control? What can I predict? Uh, all of that, like, and it makes sense. And but it seems to be tying up somehow. Like it's not yet completely tied up, but it's getting there slowly. And I'll just hand back to Lynn.
Thank you so much for that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, yes, yes. And the whole idea that well, first off, you're going to do whatever it is that is necessary for what needs to happen, right? You're going to do whatever it is that's necessary for what needs to happen. And so you may not think you have the strength, you may not think you have the wisdom, but stop thinking, because your thinking is stinking. You are in the Holy Spirit's hands. You belong to God. You don't belong to Iris. Uh, oh my gosh, you guys. So I've finally got that WhatsApp thing downloaded. So I want to just share a little bit. All right, let's see, can I make this bigger? Uh, okay. Oh well, let's see what we can do here. It might take a minute. Okay, so here it is. There's Mandy playing the accordion, and then we're all playing little ringy dingy instruments. I'm not going to play this whole song, but that's okay. That's Mandy. Let's see.
Lynn, I think you have to share the sound because it's
Oh
not.
shoot. Okay. Thank you. Here I've been gone a week and I forgot how the whole thing works. So that's okay. Well, then I didn't share the bagpipes part either. So there, let's see if this works now. Okay, well, there's some sheepies. There we go. And of course, she has that fibromyalgia and stuff, and it's hard for her lugging that big accordion around and everything. There's Mandy and this fellow Hugh, who was adorable, and Sebastian and Miguel, who are a couple of other folks from that group. Here are Vicky and other people dancing. So there's lots of dancing going on, and there again, Mandy. And there's Glenn and Muffy with Alice friend. They went to Spain and saw her. Her husband just passed away a few weeks ago. Rod Friend. He was a friend for a long time of the course and people in the course. Um, and then here's Raul playing the guitar. And let's see, did I go far enough here? Okay, that's the end of those. But let me see if I can show you some of the dancing. There's this giant spider who was in our room and scared everybody to death, and I was the one that had to go and get him out because everybody was terrified. And here we are all dancing, dancing, dancing. Lots of dancing was going on. like I said, I never thought I'd get up and dance around with people either, but boy, oh boy, I sure did. Anyway, let me see what else. I was going to just show this beautiful little video. I think this is. So this is where we were. All these beautiful houses. And every place had a garden. Every place was fruits and vegetables and amazing. Oh, there's more dancing. And singing. Really? This lady came and taught us songs.
One more time. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility.
Here's the group. Isn't that sweet? Oh, stop now. But yeah, then people came up with COVID. Of course, that happened. But I didn't, and I'm fine. Sandy didn't, and she's fine. Oh, there she's stuck at the airport. There's the bay. Anyway, enough of that. And I have a ton of pictures on my phone, pictures and videos, and everywhere you went, that's all we were doing was like taking. Sandy has pictures of all her meals, so everything that she ate was. I have tons of pictures on my phone.
You might want to play some of this on Monday morning for the Mandy hour.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Mandy just adores all you people. She is just so happy to be a part of our family. And after, if y'all don't mind, I don't think there will be, but after I add up and subtract and figure out all the costs we had, because it was pricey. Things were very expensive over there. But after all that, if there's anything left from that for the donations you guys sent to me for the trip, I was just thinking to send it to Mandy because she could sure use it. And I think that you all would appreciate that as well. So anyway, that was it. And I don't know. Did anybody else have anything that they'd like to share or questions or?
No, I just bet Dove's really happy that you're back. Right, Dove?
He did a great job.
He did an amazing job. He did an amazing job.
Regis helped out too, by the way. Regis took the mic at least one day, maybe two. Yeah.
Very good. And I guess I don't know when the radio went down, but the radio was down. Um, I couldn't really do much about that. I didn't even know. but then also there are people that Lady Lily, she goes, I've been listening to that radio. Is that you? I say, yeah, that's us. Come join us. So, and I know that Dove has been putting out the call to other folks to listen on the radio and to join. And you can see the effect of Dove in a lot of that stuff, believe it or not. Um, definitely beautiful. So, did y'all get the link for the Sunday with Monday tomorrow? If you
Yes.
want to go on and see Keith Kavanaugh, that's the link to it right there. So you can go and register, and you can it's $20 is what John charges, which is not bad at all. But if you can't afford the $20, you can definitely pay what you can or not pay at all if you can't. So he's he doesn't keep people out because of that. But that's how he is able to operate as well. So and so yeah, and Keith will be on there. So we're all very excited about that because I adore Keith Kavanaugh as well. So anybody else have any thoughts or questions or I'm Dove, like I said, I just trusted. I didn't even try. I think I logged in once to Pal Talk and you were playing something and I was like, he's got it. He's got it covered. And we're all okay. But I did miss you guys.
And also one day uh, Prudence played from morning to night, the entire day.
God bless Prudence.
I think it was last Sunday.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah, I'll have to thank her as well because yeah, I couldn't have done it. I would not have done it if I hadn't thought that you guys would be okay. But but I knew you would, so I'm very happy about all of it. Anyway, I'm gonna go and eat some breakfast and maybe go back to sleep for a little while. I had a very late night.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Thank you so much, love.
Yeah, thank you. Love you all.
Thanks, you guys. We'll see you all maybe tomorrow and definitely on Monday.
Okay.
So we'll all be back. Love you all.